Is Diddy a deep state pawn? This is Inverted World Live. What is up, everybody? We are here for a very special Friday episode. There's just so much going on with the Diddy news that I didn't want to, go wait too long until more passed. And we have a great guest today who's been covering this since back in March. So without any, real quick before, I got to say Wesley's here today. Unfortunately, Alex couldn't make it because it was such a last minute thing, but Wesley stepped up and is helping us out. And we're going to talk about all the crazy Diddy news. So much has been happening. The raids were happening in March, and now we got him in jail. And who knows what's next. But we have some theories. So to talk about all this and much more, we have writer. She's been covering all of this for the House and Habit Substack, Emilie Hagen. What's up, Emily?
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Am I supposed to be in the middle screen?
You're good. I don't know. Oh, there might be a middle screen on your end, but you're on two screens here.
Oh, okay.
You're just seeing.
I'm totally fine being anonymous.
It's true. You're just a disembodied voice. So,
I can't help. That was so funny. Your intro is Diddy a deep state pawn?
I took that from your article, actually.
I want you to narrate all my articles.
I will. I'll start sending them you all my audio. But you've been covering this since March, right? Your first stories for the House Substack. We're talking about the raids. So let's start from the beginning.
I don't think anyone thought anything was actually going to come of it when the raid happened. But when you do see a bunch of feds invading a huge property, usually there's something to it. Like, a lot of people just thought it was a conspiracy at the time.
Was Diddy there or not?
I don't know I don't think he was there. I think his kids were there.
It seems like he was conveniently not there.
I'm going to be honest. So I've been preparing for this, and I haven't really I haven't even gotten back to my original articles because there's been so much coming out all morning that I've been reporting on the sex workers, all of the new stuff that's been coming out. So
it's weird.
All of my facts might not be completely accurate.
It's all good.
But it's all on Substack.
But yeah, the stuff that happened in March feels like 1,000 years ago. And everyone was saying, this doesn't seem like anything's going to come of it. They were actually calling out people like us who were talking about it online, that this is a conspiracy. You're wrong. Nothing's going to come of it. They're going after Diddy.
It was an alt-right conspiracy, and that we were trying to take down a black male. That was what the narrative was in March.
But I keep reminding people that Kanye West, now known as Ye, said Diddy was a Fed almost 3 years ago. And that has been a narrative that's been out there. Yeah,
I've kind of been not reporting that a lot. I know Candace Owens has been really using that on her Twitter as a talking point. It's interesting because Ye gave Diddy his Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. And I remember at the time feeling like he didn't really want to be there. That's like when he came out on the stage wearing the black mask.
That's right.
And he was saying that Diddy influenced his life choices, his wife choices, made a little joke. And then he went into this big speech. And then months later, he posted the White Lives Matter t-shirt, and Diddy at the time was signed to Endeavor with Ari Emanuel. So he went on Instagram Live. I don't know if you remember. I remember this very clearly. Yeah. So he went on Instagram Live and he told his audience, basically, do not buy a White Lives Matter shirt from Ye. This is the opposite of Black excellence, what Diddy stood for. And then he texted him, where are you? Send me your address. Let's meet up. And that's when Ye said the notorious line, N-word, F-U, you fed.
That's right.
And then that's kind of when he turned on Diddy. But it's interesting because he didn't call him a fed before he was mad at him over a personal argument.
Right.
So, and then you wonder if he's a fed, is he just no longer useful anymore?
Right.
Because the feds are fedding.
I feel like they gave up on him. Like he was working for the feds to some degree was given a sweet little deal to be an informant and to manipulate the music industry and to also extort people in an Epstein-like manner, surveilling his own parties and having popular celebrities do horrible things to hold over their heads. And, the mob used to do that. The mob did it to J. Edgar Hoover, who was a cross-dresser and had a boyfriend at the Store Club in New York City. And that's how they got away with doing a lot of mob activity, supposedly. That's what they say. But Hoover never mentioned the mob for 30 years.
Well, this whole industry is run like a mob.
Exactly.
We're seeing anyone that speaks out, they're doing shakedowns, people get silenced. The whole music industry runs like a mob. But when we talk about feds, I'm having a hard time really understanding. I think everybody's having a hard time understanding who is the real ringleader here.
Do you have an idea? Do you have any ideas?
I have no idea. And I keep reminding myself, I'm not a Fed and I'm not the FBI. I'm just a Substack guest writer that's trying to figure this out on as much Adderall as possible, like every other writer. But not you, Shane, because you can't. It's almost like this stuff is so dark. In order for me to get in tune with this frequency, I have to be on methamphetamine.
Right. Is this why you're at a retreat right now in the sunlight? Because you're going through like a trauma covering this. Because people are attacking you, I see online left and right. They're calling you a Fed for calling other people Feds, which is anytime I call someone a Fed on the internet, I get Feds calling me.
Is that a new internet? Like it used to be Incel and now it's Fed? There's
both. I think they still go on, but it has definitely rebranded to Fed. And there's probably a lot of incel Feds too.
I wish I was a Fed. I was thinking, I'm doing so much research, I might as well be a Fed. Because are they this good at deep dives?
No, they're not. Unless you perform January 6th, then they're really good at it. But otherwise, they probably just reading your Substack and then going and doing their business.
At one point, I debated applying to the FBI, and there's really weird requirements. You have to apply before your 36th birthday. That's the age, I guess. They're like, you're not smart after you're not. Maybe Diddy was too old.
Weird cutoff.
You have to have a degree and you have to prove like 4 or 5 years full-time work experience, which I've been a freelancer. So I was like, I guess I'm never going to be a Fed.
Well, they might still entrap you somehow. There's still hope. That's what I think happened to Diddy. I think this is based on just, rumors I've heard and stories I've read about, but I feel like they got to him in the 90s, that he's been under the thumb of the Feds since the 90s. And I know other people who have been in the music industry for quite some time who they'll swear up and down that Diddy was involved with the murders of Tupac and Biggie.
And that's a conspiracy, or not even it's almost becoming not even a conspiracy anymore, but that's a story that I have yet to deep dive, because and I haven't seen many people, but I definitely think that's going to be the next big story.
Yeah,
I think that's coming next. And I think
so.
Diddy, this is also something on my to-do list. I have a whole to-do list of things I need to unravel, but one of them is Diddy's family history. And I think his dad I remember someone told me to look into his father. I think his father had some type of, I don't know if it was a mob background. Like I said, I don't want to speak on things that I haven't researched yet.
Yeah, well,
do you know anything about it?
No, but those things happen all the time, and it's very possible. When you're saying that, it made me think of something we talk about on the show quite a bit, is how the counter culture movement in the 60s was co-opted by the CIA. So a lot of people who were involved in the 60s counterculture, like from anyone from Jim Morrison to Frank Zappa, their fathers were heavily involved with the government. Zappa's father was a bioweapons engineer, I believe, and Jim Morrison's father was the man responsible for Gulf of Tonkin happening, which got us into Vietnam War. And then there's a lot of other people involved in the counterculture in Laurel Canyon specifically that were involved.
Don't even get me started on Laurel Canyon.
Oh, well, we'll go there. Good. We'll go there soon.
That's where I am right now. I'm in Laurel Canyon.
No, geez, now they're going to drop now they know. They're going to come take you.
Have you been to Laurel Canyon when you've been in LA?
Yeah, a few times.
How do you feel?
Well, there is a weird energy there because that Mountain Look Observatory is there. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Are you there right now?
Yeah.
Are you where they filmed the moon landing? But it's beautiful. Aesthetically, it's interesting because they just keep building on top of a mountain, and there's giant mansions that are being carved into the cliffside. And I don't understand how that landscape is going to withstand that much longer.
Every time it's always like, as someone that's been in LA for over 10 years, that's always my favorite street to drive down. But I do think I'm I'm drawn to darkness, but every time I've actually gotten out of the car, something extremely strange has happened.
Weird. It's a weird area. I mean, Laurel Canyon, I think it's beautiful, but the CIA took it over in the late 50s, early 60s.
And the thing with the CIA too, it's like a few years ago, even mentioning that like 3-letter agencies, it was such a conspiracy, but now we're hearing so many stories where they're, about the operations and all that.
Well, I mean, look, so real quick, just to tie up Laurel Canyon, the Mountain Look Observatory is where the government filmed like tens of thousands of propaganda films. And many people do believe they filmed a moon landing there as well. Jared Leto owns it now, last I heard.
Of course he does.
And it's a huge facility with all these supposed underground tunnels that went to a lot of the houses that were involved in the counterculture, like down to at the bottom of the canyon is where Zappa's house was. And they say those tunnels are all connected. So all that's happening. And then, even saying stuff like the CIA is involved in all these nefarious affairs was, some people would just hear that and reject it outright. But to tie it back to where we were starting this whole thing with Diddy, once Epstein happened and everyone kind of understood that this was a real evil happening in the world, where there's human trafficking, that there are spies, that there are giant racketeering and extortion, people in power on video doing horrible things. And there was a small, brief moment in time where people were like, oh, okay, we all agree. This is almost like it was a bipartisan thing.
I remember I was in a Brooklyn hotel sick on vacation, and Stencil, my boyfriend, was watching them raid Epstein Island via some YouTube account that had a drone. And then that video was taken down and barely anybody saw that video. I don't know if you saw that.
I do. Yeah.
It didn't have many. I remember it didn't have many live viewers,
right.
But then that got wiped. I'm pretty sure that one got wiped from the internet. Yep. And then it kind of just turned into a joke. Epstein didn't kill himself. Mm-hmm. And then it's become an alt-right conspiracy.
Right. Which
again,
it's crazy that they just write off conspiracy, because for years people were saying there are circles of elites, and many of them are in the government and Hollywood, and they're doing horrible things to children across the world, trafficking them, harming them, and blackmailing these powerful people to do their evil bidding. And then Epstein broke. Everyone was like, okay, we agree. And then we memed it into oblivion. So it became a joke.
Right, we memed it, yeah.
Yeah, which is
something similar I'm seeing, obviously, the extortion, the blackmail, that's taken out of Epstein's playbook that he learned from intelligence agencies, I'm sure. But I've noticed in both cases, political agendas at large, people are trying to peg Trump to Epstein, and they're also trying to do it to Diddy now. So I did a deep dive the other night, kind of seeing who was Diddy involved with, and he was definitely involved with the Democrat deep state. Him and Trump were at tons of parties together in the 90s. I would say Diddy was in a pinstripe baggy suit that didn't look great on him, in photos with Trump and Melania at events. But I mean, at the time, Trump was a Democrat.
Right.
But every single election, he endorsed a Democratic candidate. And what was interesting was you said the vote or die rapper was arrested, which was hilarious. But I didn't know. I looked into it and I was like, I didn't know that the person that was behind the scenes helping Diddy with vote or die was the CEO of Planned Parenthood, who just spoke at the DNC.
Wow, that's right.
So everybody always gave Diddy credit, he started this movement, but he had really hardcore Democrats behind the scenes helping him. And he was actually, a complaint was filed at the time by a conservative organization who claimed that Diddy's organization was started to help Kerry get into office. And I guess he did win the young vote because of the vote or die campaign.
That's crazy. I mean, when you say it like that, and having these political affiliations start this movement that became kind of mainstream for Diddy, I mean, to the degree that South Park was making fun of it, people around our age remember the vote or die shirts in MTV News, which is featured in
iconic.
It's huge. But that sort of shows him as a deep state pawn. There's people in the government putting a lot of money and power behind.
Let's talk about who was in those campaigns.
Yeah.
There was Paris Hilton.
Okay.
Pharrell, who has succeeded wildly in his career. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's now he has the job that Ye always wanted. That's right. Took Virgil's job at Louis Vuitton. Yep. Ye always said he didn't get the job because he wasn't a hardcore Dem. Jay-Z was in a t-shirt, not in the Mariah Carey. A lot of the big name people were thrown in these t-shirts to encourage the young vote.
Well, and like, what was the point of that? Were they, because to me, it's like a
let's not
threat.
forget the other person helping Diddy with this entire voter die was Russell Simmons, who we know escaped to an island, and he's got lawsuits against him on his own, and his name's coming up a lot now with the Diddy stuff.
I forgot all about Russell Simmons.
Russell Simmons was with Vote or Die. It was actually started by this organization called Citizen Change.
Okay.
That was Diddy's organization, I guess, created to empower the young vote and educate the young vote. And Russell Simmons was involved with either Citizen Change or Vote or Die.
So they Me Too'd Russell, right? They tried to, and then he bounced?
Russell Simmons is, I mean, I know people that had sex with him in a bathroom.
What?
And then he bounced.
Jeez. Wow. That's crazy. This is Run DMC.
Russell Simmons, after he had sex with someone I knew in a bathroom, he threw this huge, this like looks like where Russell Simmons lives now. Like he's in Bali, I believe.
Okay.
But before he left LA, he opened up a yoga studio on Sunset Boulevard, and he was leading these really intense meditations. And I went to one, and I'm not kidding you, I was put in a trance. Like
wow.
He definitely was he was leaning into this really like, Eastern spiritual practice. Definitely, I guess if you're a Christian watching, a lot of people think yoga is demonic and whatnot, but then that didn't last long, and then all of a sudden we hear that he fled to Bali. He also supported Ye when Ye was getting canceled.
Did he? Huh, I don't remember that part.
Which is interesting because he's connected to Diddy as well.
Interesting.